Hi there, Steve Kaufman here today, and today I'm going to talk about my new approach to learning three languages. I was at the Polyglot Conference in Japan. Oh, and by the way, if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Apparently these are good for my ratings, which apparently is a good thing to push for, but you're entirely free to do whatever you want, of course. So, Polyglot, there were a lot of people there who speak 4, 5, 6, 7 languages. I decided a while ago that I wanted to work on the three languages that I'm now sort of focused on: Arabic, Persian, and Turkish. I started out doing 3 months on one, 3 months on the other, 3 months on the third one, then back to the first one. The problem with that is that I find that I slip a bit too much. So I want to try to balance all three of them as I learn all three of them. So, learning three languages at the same time. How do we do it? Now, Luca Lampariello has put out a video and a blog post on the subject. You can Google for it. Elisa Polese, both of them are well-known polyglots. She has an approach to learning three languages simultaneously. You can search for her. I just don't, as I'm doing this video, I just don't have any links that I can give you, but it's easy enough to Google. Now, my approach. I'm not doing it the way they are doing. I think Luca is learning Danish, Greek, and Hungarian. And Danish is new to him, although he knows Swedish. Greek he's been at for 2 years, and Hungarian he's been at for 5 years. Now, I recognize that when we say we've been doing a language for 2 or 3 or 5 years, that doesn't mean we've been doing it 100%. Probably he's been doing other languages there as well. I've been working on Korean off and on for many years, and I'm still not satisfied with my level in Korean. However, my focus right now is Arabic, Persian, and Turkish. So I thought to myself, how do I control how much time I spend on each if I want to do a little bit of each every day? So I was thinking of my electric toothbrush. Now, if I brush my teeth manually, then there's no control over how much time I spend brushing my teeth. And I probably don't brush them long enough. Not to mention the fact that probably I'm not doing as much good to my gums as is the case with this Sonic toothbrush from Philips. The Sonic toothbrush from Philips goes for 2 minutes. So I don't have to think about it. I just continue cleaning my teeth until I hit 2 minutes and then I stop. So that's sort of an automatic control of how long I brush my teeth. I then floss, but that's easy enough to do because I have only so many teeth. So once I finish flossing, I'm done. How does that apply to languages? Well, up until now, with my three languages here, and of course I've bought books on Turkish, on Arabic, I also have the Asimil, on Farsi or Persian, and I've been a bit of a nomad. I do whatever I want. When I feel like listening, I listen. When I feel like reviewing something in the book, I do so. And I spend an awful lot of time going over and over our mini stories. And all of that, I think, has been good. It's made me kind of familiar with those three languages, with some of the essential, structures of the language, some key vocabulary. But I feel now that I'm in a bit of a rut. I've got to get beyond the mini stories, beyond reviewing, sort of simple dialogue, simple grammar points for the nth time and still forgetting them. So what I've decided to do, and I'm going to stick to it, and I recommend you do the same. I have changed my goal at Link. I have set it at 100 links a day. So every day in each language, I'm going to create 100 links. That in other words, I'm going to force myself into new content where there are enough unknown words that in fact I can easily create 100 new links. So I'm going to wean myself away from the mini stories and content where I'm trying to read it for the nth time to try to remember the words that I keep forgetting, and listening for the nth time to try to remember what I forgot already. I'm just going to assume I've done enough of that. Now, if I move forward, any words or structures that are important enough will show up again. So as long as I create my 100 links a day and I maintain that streak, and Link tracks your streak, if I continue doing that, 100 in Persian, 100 in Arabic, and 100 in Turkish, I will be necessarily reading a lot because it forces me to read in between the links that I create. I'm not just going to go through and link a bunch of stuff. I'm going to read the text, try to make sense of it. And obviously there's going to be text that I understand imperfectly. Some of the Arabic texts I'm doing are transcripts from these podcasts on France 24. And the transcripts are automatic, so they make mistakes. So the whole thing is a little fuzzy, but I don't mind. I'm reading through them. I'm reviewing words that I've previously saved. And every day I'm creating 100 links. The listening part is not difficult because essentially I only listen when I'm doing something else. So I listen when I'm exercising. I listen when I'm in the car. I listen when I'm doing the dishes. So I will get in enough listening. I am going to try, like these podcasts on France 24. One of the reasons why I transcribe them is so that I can create a lesson in Link, so that I can listen from Link, so that it automatically tracks how many minutes or hours of listening I'm doing, even though it's not ideal because the transcripts are not as accurate as they could be. I wish there were podcasts, and one great thing is if I'm following current events, I'm familiar with the context. So if they're talking about the Turkish incursion into Syria or riots in Iraq or whatever they're talking about, I know that background, the context, so it's easier for me to follow. And so I like news, current events, podcasts, that kind of thing, ideally audio with transcript. That's what I'm trying to create because I then stay in a familiar context, easier to understand. So that's essentially what I'm going to do. I'm not going to interact with tutors for the next 9 months. 9 months. It used to be 3 months on language A, then B, then C. I'm going to go 9 months, mixing them every day, 100 links a day, which necessarily forces me to read. If I listen to something and I want to go over it again, even though I've, cleaned out all the blue new words, I still will manually indicate that I've read that again so that I at least keep track of my reading. But I'm not going to be driven by my reading. I want to simplify this thing. I am driven simply by the desire to create links, to convert blue new words to either to ignore them because they're, proper names, or to convert them into yellow words, links that in time I will learn. If I do this at 100 links a day, and let's say there's 270, let's say 250 days times 100, what's that? 25,000 links that I will create. That's a lot. I believe the math is right there, 250 times 100. And based on my experience in other languages like Greek and Korean and stuff, that will probably bring my known words total up over 10,000. I'm already at 8,000 in Turkish and Arabic, and I think I have 20,000 links created in each of those languages, so it'll take me up to 45,000 links created, which should bring my known words total up to 15 or 20,000. So I think that'll improve my vocabulary, my familiarity with the language. I won't be interacting with a tutor because part of the reason for interacting with a tutor, part of the reason for spending so much time on the mini stories is to improve my ability to say something. But I always feel I'm doing that at the expense of acquiring more vocabulary and getting used to more of the language in different contexts. So, no tutor, and that minimizes the opportunity to confuse the languages because I'm just going to be listening and reading. And then at the end of 9 months, I'm going to pick up again with my tutors and we'll see to what extent I have improved. So this is an experiment. Maybe I'll be just as bad at speaking then as I am right now, but I will have a larger vocabulary. And that is the program that I'm going to be on, learning 3 languages every day by making sure that every day I create 100 links, which means I look up 100 new words that I didn't know before, and they enter my database of words that I'm trying to learn. And all the rest of it, the reading, the listening, will simply fall into place. And if I'm curious about a point of grammar, I may look it up, but I'm not going to try to remember stuff that's in these books. There you have it. That's my new approach. I look forward to your comments. Bye for now.